Hi, I'm Debbie and welcome to Book and Bujo, where I talk about all things books, bullet journals, and stationery. Today we are going through my Kindle Book Haul. So each quarter I try and go through some of the books that I've recently received, and so this one, the only physical book I've really gotten was Bound and the Broken of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. It's beautiful. And I think one thing I didn't show, so I showed the map, but I don't think I really showed the amazing cover, naked hardcover. Oh, so beautiful. Yes, I'm very looking forward to rereading this one. I may want to read A Worn Rune first, though. We'll see. Okay. So yes, I did get that one. Very shiny cover. So the rest are all pretty much on my Kindle. Alright, so these are in no particular order. It's just which one comes up first on my Kindle. And so one of the first ones, which I'm actually reading this month for a book club pick, The Wolf by Leo Carew, and this is the first book in Under the Northern Sky series. Beyond the Black River, among the forests and mountains of the north, lives an ancient race of people. Their lives are measured in centuries, not decades. They revel in wilderness and resilience, and they scorn wealth and comfort. By contrast, those in the south live in the moment, their lives more fleeting. They crave wealth and power, their ambition is limitless, and their cunning unmatched. When the armies of the south flood across the Black River, the fragile peace between the two races is shattered. On a lightning-struck battlefield, the two sides will fight, for their people, for their land, for their very survival. Next up is the third book in the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson, and that is Oathbringer. In Oathbringer, the third volume of the Stormlight Archive, humanity faces a new desolation with the return of the Voidbringers, a foe with numbers as great as their thirst for vengeance. And then we have Court of Nightmares by K.A. Knight, and that's part of the Courts and Kings series, the first book. I love the snake that's up here. Very cool. There are many things that go bump in the night, and I am one of them. As a vampire who was born to fulfill a prophecy, my life was planned before I was created. I obeyed every rule, and I became the perfect vampire. But one night changed everything. Rejected by the man who was destined for me, who was supposed to love me forever, I do the only thing I can. I flee, into the night, nursing my broken heart. Being a rejected mate corrupts the soul, however, and in this game of courts and kings, nobody wins. Nobody except the monsters in the shadows. The monsters that save me, welcome me, and make me one of them. Welcome to the Court of Nightmares, where all your wicked dreams come true. So the next book I got was Court of Assassins by Philip Cointrell, and that is the first book in the Ranger Archives. Myth. Legend. Nightfall has long been rumored to be nothing more than whispers on the breeze. If only it were so. In those halls of darkness where children are taken from the world and given to shadow and dust, Asher is destined for that same fate. He will become the myth. He will become the legend. He will become the whisper of death itself. So the next book I got was Shadow and Bone, the first book in the Shadow and Bone series by Leigh Bardugo. Is also the first book in the Grishaverse, which I do own Six Crows and Cricket Kingdom in the hardcovers. Those two are probably one of my favorite series. They're definitely my favorite duology. Yeah, one of my favorite series. I love the cast of characters that are in those books. They're so good. So, Soldier, Summoner, Saint. Orphaned and expendable, Alina Starkov is a soldier who knows she may not survive her first trek across the Shadowfold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. But when her regiment is attacked, Alina unleashes dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. Definitely a good book. I feel Leigh Bardugo's later books are better. The later books are usually better than the first books, and I like some of the later trilogies and series spin-offs that came off of the Shadow and Bone series a little bit better, but the Shadow and Bone series, it's a good backbone to all the rest of them, so definitely a must-read. The next Kindle book I got is The Hanging City by Charlie N. Holmberg. 7 years on the run from her abusive father, and with no hope of sanctuary among the dwindling pockets of human civilization, Lark is out of options. Her only leverage is a cursed power. She can thrust fear onto others, leaving all threats fleeing in terror. It's a means of survival as she searches for a place to call home. If the campfire myths of her childhood are true, Lark's sole chance for refuge could lie in Kagmar, the city of trolls, a brutal species and the sworn enemies of humanity. Ooh, so you got a snake down here, and we got a little spider up there, a black widow. Next up is Katana of Trust, and that is by A.C. Wyrd, and it's the first book in the Kami prophecy. Escaping death by her father's hand was only the beginning. Determined to prove herself to the gods, Zhu would do anything to forget the journey that brought her to the island of the Kami. Now is her time to rise up and take her place as the chosen one of the prophecy. Next up is The Vanishing Woman by Doug Peterson, and this one is based on a true story of Ellen Craft's incredible escape from slavery. This one sounded really interesting. She dresses up as a man and has her husband pose as her slave. Not sure where it goes from there, but it sounds very intriguing, and I love that it's based on a true story, so you get to learn a little bit about history at the same time. I always like that. And of course features the Underground Railroad. Alright, next up I got The Promise. Look at that bee on there. Hornet? Not sure. And that is by Melissa Service. It sounds really interesting. So it's a war and a wedding, book 1. And it says, there will be a war, there will be a wedding, lines will be drawn. The cover is really interesting. So the next book I got, I've actually checked out from my library twice already, and I'm still not done with it. It is a story collection. So I've read some from the beginning, I've read some from the end, but I keep having to return it. So I'm part of the Kindle rewards program. So when you spend so many, you get so many points, and then you can use those to spend on other books. So I finally just bit the bullet and bought this one because I had to. Yeah, because some of them are spoilers for other books in the series, so you need to read that part up to that part in the series first, and then you can read the short story that goes with it. And yeah, that is the Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson, and I'm very excited that I have this now. It's going to be much easier to read now that I have it, instead of checking out my library every single time that I need to read something from it. And again, it's a short story collection throughout the Cosmere, so it has books that goes along with Mistborn Era 1, Mistborn Era 2, Stormlight Archives, Elantris, and some other just bits and pieces of things about the worlds themselves. It's pretty cool. I've enjoyed what I've read so far. Then I get emails from Bookspry, Free Booksy. There's a couple of others like BookBub, and so the emails come once a week, sometimes every day, depending on what the different service is. But they show you a handful of books that are free on Kindle that day or that week. And so in anticipation to my readathon in December, which is the 12 Books of Christmas, I got The Claus of Christmas, and this is by Rachel Bloom. An unexpected inheritance, a pesky clause in the will, and 25 days to avoid falling in love. Cassie Hayward hates Christmas, especially this year. No job, flat broke, and an ex most definitely on the naughty list. The unexpected inheritance of a charming Victorian cottage in the small town of Poppy Creek may be the Christmas miracle Cassie needs. Except for one itty-bitty problem, a clause in the will. That one will definitely be going on my 12 Books of Christmas readathon for this year. So the next 2 books that I got in June are by the beloved booktuber Philip Chase, and it was awesome. So to promote the second book coming out, he had a sale on the first book, and so I made sure to pick up both of them. The first one is The Way of Edan. The kingdom of the Eternal will awaken when the Way of Edan holds sway over all of Jormungand, so say the prophecies. With unrivaled power in the gift, the supreme priest Bledla leads Torland and its mighty army to convert rival kingdoms by the sword and by the fang. Among the gathering resistance is the sorceress Sequara, whose mission is to protect her land and her Andumaic faith from the Torlanders' aggression. As holy war looms over the kingdoms of Jormungand, a chance encounter bestows a terrible curse upon a young man. Dayraven's curse may decide Jormungand's fate. But first, with the help of unlikely friends, he must survive the shattering of his world. Equal parts epic and lament, The Way of Edan is a lyrical opening of the Edan trilogy. So the second book in the Edan trilogy was The Prophet of Edan, again by Philip Chase. So the other book I've got, I've actually already read and had it on a couple of readathons and my TBR already, and that is Dark is the Water and Other Weird Tales by Susan Earlham. Dare you take a dip in this collection of short horrors and flash fiction? A gang of young women are not what they seem. A creature waits on a beach. A ceremony in a small community turns into a nightmare. The everyday spaces of cricket grounds and train stations become places where inhabitants unravel into themselves. Dark as the Water will make you question what it is to live on the edge of this and other worlds. It was definitely an interesting book. There were some of the stories that I thought were amazing. The first story, by the end, I was just like, what did I just read? What? And then they just kind of kept getting more interesting. So there's two more that I recently got, and that is Doomsday Match by Jeff Wheeler. Now, I really like Jeff Wheeler's books. I've read one or two of them so far, and I really enjoyed them. A prophecy has waited for 5 centuries to be fulfilled. That time has come. Sacrifices will be made. Let the games begin. Love it. I love books with games in it, like the Hunger Games type of thing. Love them. But yeah. I also got Blade and Bone by D.K. Holmberg. Sonaran is a city of fog and violence, a place where even the past can disappear. Kanar Reams, an ex-soldier known as the Blackheart, hides a dangerous secret. Exiled from the Realm's Guard, he wants nothing to do with the kind of magic that destroyed his life. That is until his team of mercenaries is offered a job they can't refuse. He'll need the help of others working in the city, an assassin who uses the bones of her enemies in her art, an archer with strange skills, and a stranded sailor whose loyalties are unknown. Impossible wealth awaits if they succeed, but far more is at stake if they fail, for a deadly magic will be unleashed upon the world. Now, I've gotten a few more through my Amazon borrows and also the Prime Reads, where you get a free book each month that's going to be a new release soon, which I love that program. It's great. So if you're not an Amazon Prime member and you love to read, then definitely check that out. Or if you are a Prime member and you haven't seen that yet, you get a free book every month. And you get to choose the genre. There's a list of like anywhere from 6 to 9 books that you get to choose from, and you get to choose one of them. There's been some really good ones that have come out. But the last book that I got is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This is the first book in the Sansi series. Inspired by stories from 1001 Nights, this book weaves together the gripping tale of a legendary smuggler, a cowardly prince, and a dangerous quest across the desert to find a legendary magical lamp. That one sounds very intriguing. I love the whole Jinn world, and when I was growing up I was obsessed with Egypt and that area. So exciting. If you're wondering, this is a Kindle Paperwhite. It is one of the original ones. This is from 2013, so it's 10 years old and it's still working. I've got some couple of cracks in it, but it still works. Sometimes it runs a little slow. I can't keep all of my books on the Kindle itself. It just makes things run way too slow. And there are some features that the new Kindle Paperwhites can use that mine can't, just because of how old it is. But it still works great, especially when traveling, because I don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi or cellular or any of that type of thing. I just make sure I have all my books downloaded. I can download over Wi-Fi easily, or I can plug into my computer and download my books that way. It's great. But this is a trusty Kindle that I've had for so long, and it just keeps trooping along, and I love it. So stay tuned, because I did actually get more books in my Kindle haul. I got some graphic novels, and I got some lit RPG books that I want to give a try, because I haven't read any of those before, and so stay tuned, and I will have those coming up next. thank you so much for joining me through my Kindle Book Haul. And please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from me. And until next time, keep reading. Bye.